Hello, Carla. How are you doing? I wanted to first start off by saying that I agree with pretty much everybody else's statement that this is a very, very good first pass at lighting this scene. I think you did a really good job. Our first take on it is obviously that there's a lot of interest there. There's a lot of good structure there. There's a lot of good foundation there. Now we just need to get into the nitty gritty a little bit, and I think that we've got a good start ahead of us, though. So I also want to comment on the number of comments that are being made by the other students. You guys are doing an amazing job. The feedback that you gave is incredible. The reason why I keep patenting over here to the left is I have all of your notes here on Post-it notes, so I can make sure to give everybody credit for the lovely comments that they said. So I wanted to start there. Calabaza was talking about how it would be a good idea to blur these God rays in here, and I agree with that. The cushions in the wagons are drawing too much attention. I agree. Like this amount of contrast in here is really focusing the eye a little bit towards the center. And again, it's both of them are just a contrast issue, just some contrast in these areas. Not a bad thing. It's just that's something that you need to finagle once you get into the detail work of the shot. The light bulb glow, I'm going to cover that here in a minute. I totally agree about the adding some more detailed texture map and shader work to the bear. And I think a lot of it would just be adding like a cross-section thing that would be like a knitted fabric or like cloth or something that would give the bear a softer, more squeezable feel, where right now everything's very smooth on the outside and it almost feels plastic-y almost. But I would want to give it a little bit of bump mapping to the color to give it a little bit of a cloth texture. And then agreed that this is some really, really nice natural vignetting you're getting. I mean, just this darkness on the edge and the foreground, everything is really centering the eye. Really, really good stuff. Vidat talks about how overall there could be more spec, and I agree with that. There's like these objects in here. A lot of them are getting diffuse light, but not getting a lot of specular light. The pillows are pretty much handling the majority of the specular values, so I would just work on getting some more specular in some areas, and these wood pieces here. The darkness in the pillows, agree there. I thought it was a really good suggestion to to clear this airplane out of there, because it's like just top center, and it would just do some good to get some more breathing room up there. And then let's see, the wood shape, we could use some more shaping on there. And then Yu Jiang talks about how there would be great to get some more bounce light in here and a little more fill light from this side. Definitely on the bounce light. For the fill light, I think it depends on what mood you're trying to create. And that's the next thing that I want to talk to you about. So I looked at this and I thought this is a good start. There's some good color. I agree with the idea that this is a really good color palette. I think that is a really nice thing to start with. The one thing I want to say, though, when I look at this is that I'm not quite sure what the story is and what emotion I'm supposed to be feeling at this point. I don't know if this is a warm, because this is a bedroom scene, right? There's a lot of emotions that go with bedrooms. It's warm, it's comforting, it's the place where we sleep at night. Is it a comfortable sleep? Are we about to have a nightmare? Like, what's going on in this room? I feel like right now we're kind of towing the line between a lot of different things, and I feel like it was your focus was on getting the structure of a well composed shot in terms of light and dark values, and all that stuff is there. But I think now we need to take a step back and look at our motivation for lighting the shot and think about what is our goal, what is the story that we're trying to tell here. I pulled up a couple images just from Monsters Inc. just because they did a bunch of different nighttime scenes. So this is when Sully's looking very scary, and there's like a lot of contrast, and there's just like the heavy rim light on him there. And this is same scenario, or same, I guess it's probably the same room. I can't remember if he's in Boo's room when this happened. This might be the testing facility, but similar bedroom type thing, but much more lifted values, much more lighter, much more happier and loving there. Another Monsters Inc. scene. This is Mike when he's in college, and he's just kind of waking up, and this is a little bit of a softer kind of in between thing here. That's not, it's not like super moody, but it's a little bit softer, it's a little more comforting, like nothing terrible is happening to him here. And I think we need to kind of figure out what type of mood we're going for our night scene. So I would just say that with your next post, just kind of like either show some visual reference or tell a little story about what it is that we're doing, and also what we're focusing on. So one of the things that I really noticed was like, I really like kind of this composition of the bear being in the space, and I feel like that a lot of people have associations with stuffed animals and toys when they're a kid. It would almost be cool to make that character more of the story and maybe focus the light around him, and then get that focus. And with that storytelling and thinking about what mood we're trying to create, it's also going to direct some of the light intensity as well. Because right now we've got two main light sources, and I think that's a beautiful combination. We've got the light bulbs here, and we've got the window light coming in. The one thing that I would say is that we need to determine which one's going to be the stronger influence, right? Like, is it going to be more about the light coming in through the window or more about the interior glow? It's okay that there's somewhat... It's okay that one isn't like super dominant over the other one, but we just need to like work those into the space a little bit more and into the story, and like what's really driving the lighting to tell our story. Let's see. Okay, so a few other things as we're going to go through some stuff here. Oh, one thing I didn't make a little note for, but just make sure you add a little sky back there or a little something to indicate the extension of the space. It just looks a little dark outside the window. Just something in the comp or the Photoshop file, however you're putting this guy together. So first things first, when I looked at this, I agree with some of the other comments that it feels a little bit dark. I don't think it's too bad. It just feels like an over gamma correction or a darkening of the gamma. So I just went ahead and lifted the gamma value a little bit. This might be a little bit too much. In fact, let me just take this down just a little bit. But I think that something in this region would be good just to kind of lift some of those super dark values. We still get in the contrast that we're looking for, just something more along those lines. If this is the mood and the look that we're ultimately going to go for. From there, I went ahead and with these light bulbs. Okay, a couple things about them. One, their core value should go brighter because that's where the bulb is actually situated at. So the inside brightness should go a little bit brighter. And then the other thing I was looking at, so like there's something about them that wasn't quite feeling right. I think Vedad talked about the fall off and that they felt like that the fall off wasn't quite right. And frankly, I just don't know. I don't know how light bulbs look in a bedroom at night. So what I did was I started looking at some reference, and I would suggest that you do the same. Let's see. So we've got this one, and it actually looks like the light bulbs are pretty, like right now these bulbs are right up against the wall, and the fall off is very tight around them. But the glow of the ball itself is pretty intense. So that's just something to be aware of if you're going for a look like this. But something else I started to notice, and more so in this one, was just like the really cool shapes we're getting on the wall, right? Because they're like sometimes the glass is like curved in a weird way. It's like kind of pointed it's like tapering off at the tip. And that can create some really cool light shapes on the wall here, especially when the lights are placed slightly far away, like wrapped around the bed like they are in yours. And that I think that can really create some cool shapes. And that would just be done by adding like a little bit of a gobo light to the light bulbs themselves. So when they shine, they just have a little bit of a shape on the wall. And you can see it here as well. It's just like a little bit of sharpness, some shadowing of the wire, things like that. And I think that type of variation would be really cool. But again, hot point light or hot like material on the light itself, and then that really focuses on the center of it. And then it doesn't go out that far, but it has a little bit of shape, and then it also kind of has a little bit of glow to it as well. So that would be my suggestion for the for these lights here. So it's not just like an even fall off right there. Okay, from there, just took out the airplane as was suggested. I also thought we could move this guy down a little bit, this painting, just so it's not right on the edge of frame, and just give that a little more breathing room there. And then, what are they doing? Oh yeah, this is just the before and after. And then from there, just a couple things. Yes, let's get some more bounce light from this light kind of coming up in here. We can also soften these shadows on the ground a little bit. I feel like they're, along with sharpening these lines coming in here, the shadows are they're good for if the window is like open, but windows actually diffuse light a little bit and diffuse shadows, so it would just be a little bit softer in there. From there, then we've got, oh yeah, the bear, and the bear is just adding some more texture and just the bump value. Talking about the lights again, I already mentioned that. Bringing the painting down. Also, one thing about the painting is it looks like it's almost a little bit glowing. Like this light value of the waterfall down here at the bottom is much brighter than anything else in the area. And it feels like it kind of has its own light source a little bit, so it feels a little bit glowy. So I would just take down the brightness on the painting itself, like the texture file. And then finally, I really like, again, the specularity you're getting in here, but just watch out for the contrast. Overall, and again, this has to do with that with the bounce light node from before. I'm not quite sure that the secondary or indirect light rays are fully working right now. I would just double check that on yours. But overall, I think, like I said, I agree with everybody that I think you're doing a really great job and getting off to a good start. The structure is there. We just need to work on focusing and refining a little bit. But that's what we're here for. So keep posting, keep updating. I'm sure everybody will keep making comments as well. You guys are killing it. I'm really, really happy with all the interactions. It's so incredible to see. So keep going, keep posting, and we will see you soon. Happy lighting.